Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Doctor's Notes podcast by Doc's Castle Media, a podcast I created to share the notes of one of my favorite reality shows ever, Big Brother USA. I'm your host, Doc, and I'm here to talk BP perspective from Doc's point of view. So here we go. Well, we start off this episode. This one was a doozy, you guys. This episode actually had a lot of content in it, a lot of game strategy. And I don't know for sure if I'm going to go over everything. I'm going to go over the key points there, but there are a lot that happened in this last episode. This episode was the follow-up after Cameron won HOH after Red leaving on Thursday's eviction night. As we start off the show with Cam's win of the HOH, the house is uneasy. And we start off directly with seeing the view of Bowie Jane. Her position is finally revealed within this house. More clearly, we understand how she feels with working with the people in this house because she is directly affected based off of the votes that happened on Thursday night's episode. Bowie Jane was the only one that voted with keeping Cameron in the, that voted with keeping Red in the house last week with Cameron. Everyone else voted Red to leave. And it was revealed. Everyone knew. Bowie Jane knew that the vote was with her, and she was upset because she knew that she was the only one that would vote for with Cam for Red out of everyone. But the beginning of the episode, it shows Bowie Jane going off. Basically, she goes into a room and she's fussing, sharing her frustrations with everyone about how she wished she would have been led to believe what the house was believing. She's upset about the dishonesty that everyone had in voting out Jag instead of voting out Red. So she was really, really, really upset. And when she brought it up, the people that she brought it up to in the room were Suri, Felicia, Nicole, Izzy, and Matt. When she came into the room, she was saying her frustration because these are people that she thought were in Legend 25 with her and were working with her. She didn't know Legend 25 was a Shaken Alliance outside of everyone else. I didn't know she would get this upset to go up to everyone and actually confront them about the dishonesty because there's multiple people that are against her. And she was really upset and getting teary-eyed about it, so she went to the room. She just wanted to talk, but I guess her reaction was annoying to Felicia. Now, looking at the Twitter feeds and the Twitterverse, I am aware that Felicia does not like Bowie Jane. She often talks about Bowie Jane behind Bowie Jane's back. She's annoyed with Bowie Jane often, and the annoyed feeling that she has trickled down to Felicia and Izzy. They talk about Bowie Jane in the house, and it over the weeks they've been doing this, and it shows us that this is probably why they don't really share information with Bowie Jane. They already ostracized her lately. They really have made her someone that is really not a part of their group. So when Felicia goes to Bowie Jane, or she speaks before she decides to talk to Bowie Jane about what happened, she says that she needs to be frank with Bowie Jane for a moment. So the people that leave out of the room to let Felicia have that moment to be frank with her was specifically Matt, and it kind of rubbed Matt the wrong way. But Felicia, she gives Bowie Jane a stern talking to, and Suri, Felicia, Nicole, Izzy are in the room telling her on the behalf of the bye-bye bitches that this is basically how things are rolling, that they basically got rid of Red, and that's how it is. And And they're using the Bye Bye Bitches because Bowie Jane is in the Bye Bye Bitches, and that's them. It literally is the 5 of them that is in that. We haven't heard about the Bye Bye Bitches literally probably since the 2nd week of Big Brother season. So I don't understand how them, bringing back up the Bye Bye Bitches could reel Bowie Jane back in. There wasn't really any mention of that. They were being loyal to Legend 25 and for a while. So I don't know. Bowie Jane would be really dumb to ever really go off of the Bye Bye Bitches. She knows that lion's name being thrown out there should be trying to buy her attention, to get away from the thought of them being dishonest and leaving her out. They have to kind of make her feel like she's left back in. But Felicia coming to Bowie Jane this way could lead to people feeling a little uneasy, and it's tipping the house off in the wrong type of way. She's bringing up a few kind of resemblance to Heisem when he was in the house. So basically, Felicia kicking Matt out of the room to talk to Bowie Jane has caused some red flags amongst Jag America and Matt. Because Matt goes to them and talks about him being pushed out. They're like, what is that all about? That's weird. They're getting kind of upset about how Felicia is moving. It's like, you can't just tell us to leave out of the room, What? You can't tell us what to do. She's doing things a little wrong. But either way, the house is concerned about what Cameron will do because they don't know what he would do now that he's the HOH. So everyone's kind of like scrambling, trying to understand what Cameron might do because he's left alone in the house. But Felicia, she's strong-minded. She doesn't really think that there is a chance that Cameron could go against the house. This is where Felicia is rubbing people wrong because she's so confident in people going the route that she believes is the correct route that it's kind of like, why are you feeling so secure right now, lady? You're really that secure in the game, and what have you done? Won one HOH? What? So, yeah. Another thing that happened at the beginning of the game, Suri kind of pulled Cameron to the side to kind of let him in on the knowledge of what she knows between Red and him. Because she wants to do some damage control. They just now voted the closest person to Cameron out of the house. So he's a little hurt and he's on a revenge streak, I'm pretty sure. It's revealed that there's only other one person in the house that has a pure heart that wants to work with him. So Cameron, that's what's going on in his mind. But Suri has to use this opportunity to create some damage control since it's so fresh that Red leaves. So she tells Cameron about the knowledge of her knowing of the Chillers and made up a story about Red telling them about the Chillers and turning on Cam. Cam is showing his acting skills in this episode because he's sitting there like, oh, I can't believe he would do that, Suri is trying to give him some reassurance that they were trying to protect him in some type of way. So they decided to vote Red out. Instead of letting him know what they were doing, they just blindsided him. Cam is not retarded, though. Cam knows that he shouldn't believe what Suri is saying. They should have told him if this was all going to happen. They should have let him in on that information. Left Bowie Jane and him in the dark. So he knows not to leave any information with anyone that is in that house at this moment. In a lot of Cam's diary room session, he tells us that he just doesn't trust Felicia, Izzy, and Suri. So with all of that knowledge of what's just happening and how Suri is stirring the pot, and she got Felicia and Izzy in the background nodding and hearing an agreement with her, Cam, in his talks with people, he knows that he needs to be careful about what information he needs to tell. Which, in fact, he doesn't tell anyone anyone who he's putting on the block at all, even the viewers of the show. We don't know who's going on the block until literally the end of the episode. We sit there and we go through the episode with the idea because we are shown who exactly he's talking to in his strategies and who he's making deals with, but we don't really know who he ultimately puts on the block. He lets us think the entire episode that he wants to do a redo of his last HOH. So multiple people come into his room to talk to him, Bowie Jane being one that comes and speaks to him, letting him know that she is working with him, basically. She wants him to know that she's working with him, and it shouldn't be no doubt that she is. She's the only one that has voted with him to try to keep Red in the house. So she doesn't trust the Legend 25 alliance. She puts it out there to Cam, and she understands that being left out and people turning on her on their own alliance is not what she really wants to do. That's not what an alliance is supposed to do, and that's what's on her mind. And Cam sees that she has a pure heart from voting for Red to stay and voting with him, and truly not knowing about the house and where they were going to vote. So he knows that she has a pure heart, and he knows that he has to be careful with Bowie Jane. He does want to work with her, but he has to be careful with not telling her information, because any information that you tell in this house, it's going to seep and get construed and twisted. So I think it's a smart idea that Cam is deciding that he wants to work with Bowie Jane in some type of way, not so that he's like opening up and letting her know any information, but he just knows that she has a pure heart and it's someone that he can work with in the future. So he's playing his cards. He's reading his cards, basically checking his deck to see what he can do with her. Because of Cam's position and how he's playing the game and choosing not to tell anyone his moves, not even the purest heart in the house right now with him, I say that the MVP player of this episode is Cameron. Cameron, his decisions to keep his moves to himself helps him to make a powerful move as a lone wolf. He does not have to let anyone know. Like I said, the best alliances are with two people. If you don't have a big alliance that is solid, it is proven fact that the house does not have a big solid group that is working together this season. And there are multiple number twos at the moment. But if Cam isn't working with his number two for the chillers, we can see that he has to make what is the best move for him to move forward. He's a lone wolf in this game now. And I feel like the best decision for him to make this as a HOH is to not share. Leave everybody in suspense. It brings the drama for us viewers as well. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's loving this. So Cam is leading everyone to believe that we'll do a redo of his last HOH. In his last HOH, he had Jag and Blue on the block, which is, I feel like, another power move for him. Because everyone already knows that everyone's coming from Jag. They're coming for Jag. Like, Jag has literally now become the person that Cam was at the beginning of this season. The one that will always just end up on the block. Jag is now becoming that pawn that's ending up on the block. But is he? I think that leading the entire house to believe that his choice is Jag and Blue is just a power move for his secrecy. And I think that if this week plays out successful for Cam, this could be definitely something that he could pitch in the end if he ends up in the final two chairs of this season. This is the first time I'm really even mentioning that Cam has the possibility of doing this because of his strategy, like sworn in a secrecy and deciding to go after a strong player and really proving that he is able to save himself, you know? And he's making decisions week by week. Now, I think a week by week strategy is probably the best game strategy that any player in the Big Brother game should play. And there are only two people in this house that I can literally say I've seen literally make week by week deals, and they have been working for them. And that is Suri and Cam, the two most powerful players in this house. Cam making a week by week deal in this episode. It's working in his favor because Cam makes it with Jag that he won't put him on the block as long as Jag doesn't put him on the block next week. That's 1 week by week deal that he did this week that I feel that is very powerful for him in this game for the future. Say if Jag was to win next week, Cam is definitely safe as long as Jag is honorable to that deal, which I do not think that Jag would be dishonest to it. They even had a whole segment in this episode talking about Jag and what his turban means to him and him being proud of being sick. So basically, his turban is a reminder to be a peaceful warrior, and it's a reminder for him to make the best decisions in this game, honorable decisions. So when they mention that, and we see this deal coming on with Cam, I don't have no doubt in my mind that as long as Cam is honorable to Jag, Jag could do the same for him for this week. It's just a week deal. This is not the only time that he's done a week deal. He did a week deal the last week that he won HOH because he was in the pressure cooker with America, and they had made a deal that if America was to let go of her by end, then he would not put her on the block. He would not put her up on his first HOH, and he honored that. But there is no doubt in our mind that he might be scaring America. He might be a little scared in America based on how he placed his nomination, so I'm gonna get to soon. But Cam's week by week strategy is working in his favor. He building some type of trust between two people that he's not necessarily working with, but could possibly work with at some point later on in the game. Cerise, she's doing a week by week playing strategy because she's just the weeks are changing. We're going off of the alliances that change week by week. So I know that is the strategy that she's working on. We're literally going off of how she changes her mind each week. Everyone else is not really making week to week moves. They're just coasting. So their strategy, I don't know how it is when it comes to the end of the game, how they could pitch a good gameplay for themselves. The ones that really aren't really making any moves. You got to really be able to pitch what you're able to do. What have you done? What move have you done at all? The two most powerful players are pitching it to us, honestly. So Jag, he takes this deal with Cam even though he doesn't trust it because he really doesn't have a choice to, but it gives him a glimmer of hope when he thinks that Cam is going to do what is best for his own game. And the move that he thinks is best for Cam's own game, he thinks is a game that would be something that would be beneficial to him based off of the deal that was made. So Jag, I can know how uncomfortable it is, but he has to do what he can try to. The week has revealed itself last week. Everyone turned on him, and Cameron is at a vulnerable state, according to Jag's eyes, I'm pretty sure. So Jag has that little bit of hope. But I noticed that now Jag is at a position in the game that he's moving through the game being saved. People are literally saving him. Matt saved him, and he has to be loyal to him. And then this conversation with Cam makes me feel that Cam in some way is saving him because so many people are willing to just go with the plan to have Jag and Blue be on the block. That they're ready to just vote Jag out. Just write him off. We already saw that last week too because Jag being put on the block next to Red, it was like they were ready to write Jag off again. Jag is literally being saved in this game at this point if he's not able to win any competitions and take himself off the block. But this isn't always a good case for him because that means that his game belongs, some portion of his game is starting to belong to someone else. He owes someone else something. He owes Matt something. He doesn't really owe it. He can always betray people later. But because Jag is who he is, and him showing us how he perceives himself as a peaceful warrior and honorable man, I'm pretty sure we ain't gonna see no backstabbing things. So he has been saved in his game and now kind of owes a portion of his games to Matt and also to Cameron, because Cameron didn't put him on the block. So let's get down to the nomination ceremony. The nomination ceremony, or a lot of the things that happened in this game, actually did come from the Humiliverse. But I don't really care about mentioning all the other stuff that has to do with the have-nots being humiliated this week, because it just doesn't even matter. But the one thing that is happening from the Humiliverse this week that I want to say good on production, because this definitely brought some entertainment to this episode, was the nomination being the Humiliverse nomination ceremony, and Cam nominating people or telling people they're safe through putting pies in their faces. Again, this week everyone's is a have-not, so they're just getting all types of humiliation done to them, except for Cam. And Cam has been treated so unfairly these past couple of weeks. I feel like this is just like his heart got to be smiling because of what's going on. He's like, yeah, this is definitely a revengeful week for him. But anyway, they gave Cam 9 pies, and each pie represents a person that is going to be saved. The last 2 people that are left that did not have a pie in their face are the nominees for this week. I just want to highlight the first person that has a pie in their face is Bowie Jane, of course, because we know that that is who Cam feels is the purest person in this house, and is most likely the next and only person that I feel that Cameron would be willing to have a final 2 with and work with until the end. But I want to bring up the third to last person that he pies, which means this is the person that is before the 2 nominees, the person that is sweating and hoping that they don't be the nominee. That third to last person was America, and you can tell that this worries America too a little when as he's going through giving people a pie. She's worried about if she's a threat to Cameron. And Cameron really plays this well. I think he wants to kind of put that fear in America. I mean, he made a deal with her before, but I think he wants America to know that he knows that she is a good game player and a competitor. She is a threat to him a little bit. So it's a little bit of warning. But he is working with her, so it's just a little warning. But I'd be scared if I was America. And honestly, I don't like when people play with me like that. If that's really what he's doing, I don't like when people play with me like that. I honestly, at that point, probably would, have to cut Cameron off if I became HOH. Don't let nobody know. She don't need to let anyone know, including Corey. She need to play the same game as Cameron. Don't nobody need to know anybody moves if you plan on knocking somebody out. So if she sees that and sees that Cameron is doing that, she needs to pick up on that nonverbal and go after Cameron. But that's in my opinion. That's my opinion. The 2 people that he puts on the block and the 2 people that did not get a pie in their face was Izzy and Felicia. He mentioned that they turned on the 2 males in the house that they were working on, ultimately turning on their alliance, and something has to be done about it. So this is the reason why these 2 people are on the block. Izzy already knows that, she couldn't really trust Cameron. And Felicia, she's still stuck on her little power trip, or talking about how she feels that she can't afford to do anything else against the house. She has been put on the block, and she knows that she is coming after Cam. So let's see. Is Felicia going to be able to take herself off the block? We don't know. She did win an HOH, so it all depends on the competition, honestly. But out of Izzy and Felicia, who can take themselves off the block for the veto competition? Who knows? Who could they want to play with them? Who knows? This house is going crazy right now. We got Sari feeling some type of way towards Felicia, because I did not mention, I did not mention, and let's get down to these alliances talks now, because Sari is upset that Izzy is mainly on the block, but it doesn't seem to faze her too much about Felicia being on the block, and let me tell you how. Let me tell you why. So, in this episode, we saw the revealing of alliances. Alright, I think one reason why Serene is not really too fond of Felicia at this point is because she went to have a conversation with Jared and revealed to Jared that she had a final two with Serene. And Jared, Felicia doesn't know that Jared is that's Serene's son. So telling that information, she would never thought that it really would get back to her. Jared wants what's best for his mom. So that information, he's just like, wait a minute, Felicia is kind of like saying she don't really trust my mom that much. We'll go to Serene and let her know. He goes to the storage room. He lets Serene knows about Felicia coming to him and basically offering to have a better final two alliance with Jared instead. Serene is not liking that idea, does not like that Felicia is making these moves and telling these people about a final two deal that they both to have with each other. So I think this is ultimately kind of breaking a rift right in between Serene and Felicia, two of the old ladies that I thought that would probably really take it to the end. But I honestly know that the final two that happened between Felicia and Serene are just because they ha and geek together. It's not really solid. It's not true. And I think that's probably what Felicia is sensing and going to Jared, because she might feel that it's more of a genuine connection to have a final two with him. And honestly, Serene isn't winning anything, so Felicia could be thinking about physically who can help her get to the final two anyway. And Jared is a better choice out of anyone when it comes to Serene and Jared. So, but either way, these final two alliances is getting kind of crazy, but that's that. I want to mention the Bye Bye Bitches being brought back in this episode, which I thought was completely over. I gave so much praise to Bye Bye Bitches like the second week of the season. But now, when we're in the midst of almost being, maybe two more people away from going into the jury house, the Bye Bye Bitches don't matter. It is 5 of them that are still in there, but they weren't following that. The alliances were going off. They were just going off. They could have been loyal. They could have been loyal to the Bye Bye Bitches, but they really left Bowie Jane out. But you know what? When they created Bye Bye Bitches, Bowie Jane wasn't even solidified to really be in the alliance in the first place. I wasn't even sure she was in the alliance because she left the room when they created it. And they weren't really keeping her in the loop with a lot of things. So she just knew the name of their alliance and she was in it by default because she knew about it. Bye Bye Bitches wasn't a real alliance. It could have been, though. It just could have been. Another alliance that possibly is brewing is between Jag and Matt. They have a bromance that's brewing with fake text messaging, flirting with each other. They are developing a genuine friendship of love with working together. And as long as them two are in the house, they could be a very powerful couple and alliance as well. But, Jag has to not be put as a pawn up, in order for that to happen. So we just got Jag and Matt. We are admiring it, but I'm not sure how much of their connection would matter in this game if they're not really making no powerful moves or talking gameplay to each other. We just see them flirting and texting. The only gameplay we saw was Jag being saved from that. And then I want to bring up the possibility of Cam and Bowie having an alliance. Cam and Bowie are at and out of the house. They can come together and be a strong alliance. But I don't think it's necessary between them, like that they don't really need each other. Cam is coming in strong. He don't probably need anybody right now. He can go on just having his week-to-week decisions, and that'll be that. Week-to-week strategy, and they will be fine. But that's that. they are really like the only alliances or that are new or that I want to bring up right now, because there are multiple two people alliances right now floating around in the house. This house is just nothing but alliances. But that's really all I care about to talk about for this episode. There were no Twitter updates this episode. I did watch, some cliff notes, and Big Brother Boy is a new page that I just recently started following. Listen to some, live feeds updates from them, and I didn't want to mention any of them in this episode because it's kind of confusing. What Cam is doing is not letting anyone in on what he wants to do, so I can't give a clear direction of where I feel the house would go or pick out anything particular that I need to address as a Twitter update or just a live feed update for this episode, because it's so confusing. He is really not telling nobody nothing. Everyone is scrambling to try to figure out what he really thinks, and no one knows. So it's not worth mentioning any updates in this episode. But let's wrap this episode up. So we started this episode talking about the position of Cam winning the HOH and the position of the house of where everyone stands. Bowie Jane is completely out with Cam. We talked about Felicia tipping the house off a little bit in the wrong direction, kind of making everybody be reminded of Heisen. We talked about the MVP player of this episode. My MVP player of this episode is Cameron. Cameron made 2 major moves in this game, and we discussed them. We also talked about the different alliances that are brewing in this house. We talked about the possibilities of those other alliances that were strange, so supreme, diminishing now at the end and this week. We also said that there were no Twitter updates and not really anything that I really want to share when it comes to live feed updates this episode. This episode, it was full of a lot of dialogue, not really much gameplay. And when it came to the little bit of things that they showed about the have-nots, I didn't care to address, except for the humiliation nomination ceremony from the Humiliverse. That's it. But this episode was good. I hope you guys also enjoyed it. I also mentioned quickly that we are 2 noms before jury, because jury usually has 9 people in it. And I think we've reached that point, so I'm excited to see who will be the last 2 people to leave out of the Big Brother house and not really be in the jury house. Where's the cutoff and who makes it? And I'm ready to see if the dynamic of the house will actually change from Sari and Cameron. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments wherever you see a comment section while you're listening to the podcast. Do you think that Sari and Cam are going to butt heads all the way to the end? Is someone going to get knocked out first? Who do you think should be the MVP player of the game so far, if not this episode? Just leave your comments below. Thanks, everyone, and peace out. Thank you so much for tuning into the Doctor's Notes podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you found value in what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. For more updates and Doc's Castle content, follow me on my social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Doc's Castle. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you'd like to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out to me via email at docscastlemediainfo@gmail.com. Remember, your support means the world to me, and I'm grateful to have you as a listener. But until next time, peace out.